far too often people are afraid of the shift because they feel like I'm losing myself.
Right.
I'm gonna lose if I do this, then I losing myself, which is not the case because if you shift and like I said, make space for change, everything will fall into the place. But the longer you fight that change, then it's not gonna go good.
Right. Yeah, you have to grow. In order to
You
get
have
this
to.
far, you can't say you're not going to grow.
Right.
You have to grow. I don't care if you say, well, this is just how I am or this is how I always am. You know what? Maybe so. But there's still growth, even in remaining the way you are. Are you gonna do the?
What?
Are you gonna do the intro?
You want me to intro?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. When? Now?
Yep. You can start now.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. Let me hold on to the same intro to get it right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I know y'all are used to Alicia introing White Chair Talk, but I'm gonna take it over for just a little bit. Not a whole lot. Just a quick second. I just want to say that, first of all, happy anniversary to my lovely wife. 33 years, by the way. 33 great years. I wasn't going to say long.
You was
I was
going
going to say great, 33 great years.
Yeah, or lovely. I'm going to let you.
Well, that's your word. Great years. Okay. But anyway, we were coming to somewhere on the beach somewhere on our destination.
Right.
As we were coming here, we said, oh, we got an Airbnb and all this other stuff. And man, we need to go get some items and stuff. And we went to the grocery store, once we got down here, and we were picking up some stuff. And we noticed, man, there was some familiar stuff on the shelves that we hadn't seen in a long time. And we were trying to figure out, man, how are these things still on the shelf like 30-something years later? And I'm like, they might have been longer, but for us, some of them made us think about when we first got married. And we were like, man, that's all we had in the house, those type of things, right? So, we were like, man, how did they stay relevant even to today? They're 3 decades in that we know of, and they're still relevant. So we thought about that, and then we were like, man, we've been married 33 years. And people always ask us, how did y'all stay, together for 33 years? So it's kind of like the same. So we're going to, compare and contrast, kind of like the same thing of why these products were and how that relates to staying in the marriage. So, and now I'm done. I'm going to pass it over to the host.
That compare and contrast, like how not from then, but from products, how products have their longevity to marriage.
Right.
Because obviously to stay relevant, you got to be doing something right. So welcome to White Chair Talk. Thank you so much, husband, for doing the intro. I appreciate it. He did really good. This clap for him. He did so good.
All right.
So yes, we are somewhere on a beach.
Yeah.
And an undisclosed, is it undisclosed?
Undisclosed.
Undisclosed, always mix that up. Undisclosed location. But before we get into the compare and the contrast of products and marriage and all that stuff, I would love for you to like, share, and subscribe to White Chair Talk, because what I do here is we talk about practical, I say we, see y'all.
I'm here every now and then.
Yeah, every now and then. We talk about practical ways of living this God life. I mean, marriage is definitely in the life of God, definitely. So I like to talk about practical ways of living because we always have those great sayings, but walking them out is a whole different situation. So I like to always come up with something practical that we can do that helps us walk out whatever it is that God is saying. That's what this channel is about. So with all that being said, let's get to the products. I want to say
one more thing. And after you like, share, and subscribe, hit the bell so you can hit all notifications so you don't miss any episodes, so you can get all the content when it comes out, so you're the first to know. All right.
Thank you. The notification bell. Yes, you are so right. Thank you, babe. So getting back to what we were saying, the products that we chose, so we went in these stores, all kind of stores, just trying to find all our great snacks, unless, we would be cozied up and we wanted our favorite snacks. And we were just surprised and shocked, like, man, this stuff is still on the shelves. We couldn't believe it. And one of the things, now this product is probably way older than 30 years. I'm sure it was like probably, would you say the Debbie cakes? Probably
Oh
like
yeah, it's
probably
long.
40s or something.
Who knows? Yeah.
1940. I don't really know. I'm just guessing. But when we came along, we oatmeal cakes. That was our staple snack, the Little Debbie oatmeal cakes. And we bought a box. I'm supposed to have the box over here, but it's somewhere over there.
Yeah.
We've already eaten a few
Yeah.
of them, but that was a staple snack. And what it meant to me, it was like I put it in his lunchbox.
Mm.
When before we had little ones in the house, I would have a snack drawer and I'd open them up, dump them in there, and we would just have a field day. And, so later on we realized, okay, it's not the healthiest thing, but every now and then, like anniversary time, we'll get that
Yeah,
snack.
where we suspend all diets.
Oh, yes. So what does the little David cake mean to you?
No, when I saw it, I mean, when I saw it, it just takes me back to like when we first got married, and we had a small budget for what we
Mm,
could have in the house, and so
that is true.
that was one of the treats that we had and everything.
Yeah,
So it reminds me back when we first got married, and we were living how we were living, and
yeah.
that's all we had. So it was a good treat to
Well,
have.
we had more.
No, but I'm
We
saying,
had more than
no, I'm
okay, but you're
saying
saying on the snack
on the
level.
snack level
We
it was one of the things that we had.
And I think in my mind, because it said oatmeal cream
Yeah,
pie,
it wasn't-
I thought, well, it's not so bad because it's oatmeal.
yeah. But
That's
we
that's
weren't
probably the
like,
logic.
yeah, but we weren't but 19 and 20, so I mean, that's what we thought.
Yeah. So that's what. Yeah, and you're right. It does the same thing for me. It brings back that beginning time because that was our staple snack. We'd get one and our little treat. And so the next thing we saw was Noxzema.
Oh yeah.
The Noxzema, I didn't even think that they still sold it because I don't usually see it.
Hmm.
But the Noxzema goes way back. I mean, Noxzema was the thing for me that you thought if you ain't your skin wasn't clear, you had pimples and blackheads and all that stuff.
Yep.
If you didn't have Noxzema and it had that distinctive smell, you can never mistake.
Big old white cream.
Yeah,
Hmm.
the white cream, and it looked kind of like sparkly or something, right? Like shiny, something inside of it was something, and that smell. To me, what stood out the most was the smell.
Mm.
What do you say for Noxzema?
No, it was something I was using as a teenager.
As
Because
a
I was
teenager.
trying in high school, had to look good. So I was trying to make sure I didn't have any blackheads or any pimples or whatever. So I made sure I put it on every night.
Oh, right. You
And
didn't have to.
continued on when we got married. Even though you could not stand the smell of it.
Right. Okay. So because what happened was I was pregnant with
Yeah.
twins, and he used to get in the shower, and it's like the shower, the smell just was like so strong from the steam and the Noxzema, and it went through the whole house. Well, at least that's what it felt like to me. My sensations were so like heightened during that time, and it was just the worst smell ever, the worst. But and that was just what I'm not gonna say how long ago that was, but you get the point. Like
2003, I'll say. Yeah.
you supposed to flow with me with that.
I did. You said.
I wasn't gonna
I
say
think you
that.
just didn't remember the net.
No, no,
Yeah.
no, I knew when I was pregnant.
Yeah.
Anyway, what I'm saying is,
Yeah, but you seem to forget the anniversary.
I do. Sometimes I
Yeah.
do. I hate it.
Mm.
I hate it that I forget. Sometimes I forget. But anyway, we're not going to talk about that. But I didn't forget this time. I just didn't want to say it. But anyway, yes, it was when I was pregnant with the twins. It was just the worst smell ever. It just made me throw up. I just hated it. But Noxzema was a staple, is what I'm trying to say.
Mm.
And so, but there's something, when I think about Little Debbie cakes or was it Little Debbie oatmeal cakes? And when I think about Noxzema, which one are you more likely to see in like Target?
Probably oatmeal cake.
The oatmeal cake.
Yeah.
Or Walmart oatmeal cake.
Oatmeal cake.
Or I don't know, any grocery store, you're going to probably see the oatmeal cake because Little Debbie has been trusted. You see it on the shelf of snacks. You're going to see that probably pop up first.
Yeah.
We also saw moon pies.
Yep.
I didn't used to like moon pies, but moon pies still
And they
remind
had
me.
all types of moon.
All types of moon pies.
Bananas, the chocolate, the everything. Yeah.
But the thing is about the moon pies and the Debbie cakes and the Noxzema, think about their stature. The Little Debbie cakes probably around much, much longer than the Noxzema, I would think.
Probably.
I don't know about the moon pies, but definitely Noxzema. But what I'm noticing is that Noxzema, you're not going to see it on the shelf in the front at Target. You probably won't even be able to find it in any grocery store. But you'll see Little Debbie cakes at popular, name brand stores. You see Noxzema, which is where we found it in like a Dollar General or something like a Family Dollar, some type of low cost store. You won't see it at the main stores. And so I'm thinking that there's something to that. Why is it that we would see something like a little Debbie snack at the mainstream stores, and then even though you'll still see Noxzema in some stores, but they're not in the mainstream stores. So what happened? They're still on the shelf. They're still on the shelf, but it depends on what shelf they're on. Like I said, you'll see the other one at the mainstream. So there's levels to this is what I'm saying. And how you were talking about earlier is us comparing it, contrast, comparing products and translating that into longevity of a marriage. Because I'm certain that Little Debbie and Noxzema and moon pies and all those things, I'm certain that because they are still on the shelves today, they had to do something to keep up with the times.
Yeah, to stay relevant.
Yeah, they stay relevant. I mean, obviously they're still making money, even though they may be in the lower end stores. They're still in there,
Right.
and somebody's still purchasing these products, or otherwise they would not continue to make them. If they are still on the shelves and they're staying true to their promise, that's probably the main reason why they're on the shelf. But there's a difference between like what shelf you're on, right? Because like I said, some are in Target, and then some of them are in Family Dollar.
Right.
So there's a difference. What do you think is the main thing why you have to stay true to your promise when you're talking about longevity?
Because when you first hit it, you become relevant. The people fall in love with that thing, right? The first promise, right? Everything that's added on after that is they may like it, it may come and go and all that, but they still come back for that
Mm,
that significant thing. That one thing that they first felt, first started liking it for. Like for instance, you can use McDonald's. We just looked at a thing the other day, right? McDonald's is the number one restaurant fast food restaurant in America still. And it was first, right? But a lot of people don't eat. They say they don't eat McDonald's, but it doesn't bear out in the little
right.
statistics. It is still number one, and it's because it has stayed true. It's done Happy Meals, it's done all type of little things, or whatever. But McDonald's is a staple, and it stayed true to its mission. It has the Big Mac. It has all the tried and true things up there, and there's a lot of stuff that comes, like the McRib and all that come and go. But man, they got their steady menu, and they got the same look and the
Right.
whole feel and nostalgia
Okay.
of being there, and so that's why.
But do you think, okay, so that's a good point. But do you think also these ones like a Little Debbie
Mhm.
and McDonald's, those they're true because they've been there first? You think that's probably, they're trusted. I would say more than true, they're trusted. People trust the Happy
They
Meal.
trust
I mean, because we
trust the
legally,
brand. Yeah.
they trust the brand. Because we talk, if you talk to maybe 1 out of 10 people, they'll say, oh, no, I don't go to McDonald's. Oh no. But yet, like you said, we looked at that. We looked at the statistic, and it was like
Number one.
McDonald's is still number one.
And
It's crazy.
26.
And that's crazy. So it's I would think that I would think because McDonald's the situation, I think it's because they're first. Sometimes when you're first. Like our thing was we stick to our core values, the core things that we've said about marriage and uh, that we were never going to do, things that we were never going to say to one another. And we stuck to that. And I think that is why we've been able to, a good reason why, no matter what happens, no matter how far we have to bend, stretch, or be pulled in directions, we have stuck to the promise that we've said. And I trust that in you. And I hope that you trust that in me too, obviously.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Even though, like I said, we're bent a little bit, but we still
Well,
trust that.
everybody does that.
Right. So, in these products, how do you think these products have reinvented themselves without losing the core thing? Like, relate that to marriage. How do you reinvent yourself and stay true to what the promise is without losing who you are.
Well, you gotta stick with what works first of all, and not go away from that. You gotta and then build on that. And over being married over 3 decades,
Yeah.
you have to, what I'm saying, what who I married, that person no longer exists. That person there,
Mhm.
the core of that person is there,
Yeah.
but that person has different wants, needs, aspirations, all kinds of things going on. And so as a partner in a marriage, you have to observe that, and then you have to adjust to that. You can't hold somebody to how when they were 25 years old and we're 45, and you're still treating them like that person when they're
Right.
not that person anymore. That won't work. Right. And if they never want it, say you want to do white chair talk. And I was like, man, why would you want to do white chair talk? I mean, blah, blah, blah. You never said anything about
Right.
it before. And I was totally against it. That would be a friction point. That would be bad. But instead, we know it works. Build on top of that and then recognize when your partner has changed and then adapt to it. And that's what I would say.
I think that's good. How do you adapt to it? Doesn't mean you have to lose who
No, you
you
don't. Yeah,
are.
you don't lose.
Just adapt. That's really good. So I would
I was going to say, you got to allow them the space to do the things that they want to do. You got to allow for space for change.
and you know why? Because you can trust the promise.
Right.
I can trust what you said to me. If I can trust what you said to me way back when, 3 decades ago,
Yeah.
then that means I can be free to do what I need to do and explore and expand no matter what it is. And I can trust that what you said,
Yeah.
you've made me to trust that. And I made you to trust me, what I said, so that way you can do all the things you need to do and be, and I don't have to forget who I am just because I'm supporting you or you're supporting me. I like that. It's really good. Because in these products, I was thinking about when related to products, they change packaging, they may change maybe an ingredient. We were talking about, some products when the high fructose corn syrup was real big. Oh,
Gluten free.
gluten free.
Yeah.
They was plastering over all products. We no longer,
Zero sugar.
yeah, right.
Yeah. Mhm.
And or the no fat, all those things. When it came time, because they probably had it in the product, but when it came time to was messing with their money, and the consumer was like, we don't want fat in the food, or we don't want no high fructose corn syrup, or we want gluten free. Guess what they did? Splashed that all over the labels and said, no longer we're going to have it. They took it out. Maybe I think said they were going to do it for like 6 months, take out high fructose corn syrup, and then if they see how it's going to go, they'll add it back. Now, for some reason, it made it easier for them to make their product, but high fructose corn syrup is horrible. It's like a chemical made up type of sugar,
Mm.
and it's bad for the body. And when it was like consumers were like saying no, they got rid of it for a short period of time. So it didn't change. The taste was the same, but it probably made them have to create the product in a different way.
Mm.
So when I think about marriage, it doesn't change who I am or change who you are, but in order to adapt and stay relevant, that we have to, tweak a little this, take something out, add something to it, but don't change who we are, the core of who we are. Like the Hunt's barbecue sauce was, or whatever, yeah, Hunt's, it was the same
Yeah.
taste, but they just had to manufacture a little different to get you that same trusted taste.
Mm.
And that's what we do in marriage. You don't forget who you are just because you're uh supporting someone, or you're, all doing what they want to do. It doesn't necessarily mean that. It just means you might have to change things around
Mhm.
a little bit, maybe the way you think about things, to accommodate and to remain true to the promise. When you do that, that definitely stretches a marriage, because I'm saying that real easy, but these
But it's not.
but it's not. Just like when I think that big scare with Tylenol some years back, it was like something in their food, it was something contaminated in their food, in their medicine. It was something contaminated. I can't remember what it was.
They were putting cyanide
Something was
or
in
something
it, or
inside.
somebody did
Yeah,
something to
somebody
it.
putting cyanide.
And to not lose their consumer and lose the trust, they took everything off the shelf. And they said, look, that's a sacrifice we have to make, because we can't lose our customer. we can't let them lose our faith and trust in the brand of Tylenol. So they removed it off the shelf. And sometimes I'm sure that stretched them, because how much money did they lose? Take it, whether it was in it or not. They said, we don't care, take it off, because they said in the long run, they looked at the long run. And that's what you have to do in marriage. You got to look at the long run. You can't just look at the situation and say, oh, this is so bad that I'm just gonna, it's just over. It's just done with. You have to look at the long run, because Tylenol said, you know what, it's going to pay in the end. We're going to take it off, everything off the shelf now, but in the end, we're going to regain trust of those consumers, those customers, or keep the trust of the ones that we have. And so I think, what do you have to add to that as far as, how does you get to the stretching without snapping, without breaking, without saying it's over, quitting when it comes to marriage, when you're stretched like that?
Yeah, well, you got to remember we've been talking about the core and what made you and the promises and all that. And the one
Yes.
promise is that you were going to get married and that you were going to be there through good times and bad times, richer or poor, sicker and in health and all that, which means you're going to be in this thing till death do us part, right? So if you're going to do that, if you make up your mind that that's what y'all are going to do,
Yeah.
well, then whether it stretches left, right, or whatever,
Ooh.
you got to remember that this portion of your marriage is temporary, and that there's something around the bend. You'll get through it. If you're gonna have to be here, if you decided y'all are gonna be here, problems are gonna get solved. Things are gonna get adjusted because nobody wants to live and have no peace. You know what I'm saying? And not
Yeah,
be nobody wants to live like that. So it's almost like I said, like if you got locked in a room somewhere and you couldn't get out, um, things would go differently in that room. If there was doors and you can actually get out and you have the quick way out,
right.
then our arguments would be like, oh, well,
Oh, I see
I
what
don't,
you're
I don't got,
saying.
I don't got to sit here for that, and I'm out of here. And you wouldn't even try to solve the problem. The first sign of trouble, I'm
Oh,
out of here, or whatever. First sign, and that's the thing. The easy part, I say it all the time. The easy part is to get married. The hard part is being married, is doing it. 'Cause
staying,
it's right, because
the
it's
longevity,
it's an everyday thing. Every day.
the longevity,
Right.
the mad, the hurt, I mean, you are stretched. All the nerves you got going on, all the attitude, you are stretched. But first of all, what can't happen is me doing this again. I can't even do it again. We can't. This is what we have invested it's an investment, and it was expensive. And I'm not just talking about money. I invested my time, my heart, my whole life, my children. I mean, all the things we have done together, the thoughts, the tears, the joy. I have invested my life in this. And so it's worth, trying it out and seeing what the end is going to be, because, even though we've known each other for so long, we still learning new things. Still. Why? Because through generations of products being sold, the oatmeal pies and all the things that are being sold, they have to fit with the generations. That's how they can't just say we're going to be this way and we're never changing. Well, if society, if things happen and things happen in your marriage, you got to shift. Then you shift. It doesn't mean you got to change yourself, but you just shift to make things work, because you never know, through sickness and health. You never know what's coming next. So
Far too often people are afraid of the shift because
people should
they feel like I'm losing myself.
right.
I'm gonna lose if I do this, then I am losing myself, which is not the case. Because if you shift and like I said, make space for change, everything will fall into the place. But the longer you fight that change, then it's not gonna go good.
Right. Yeah, you have to grow. In order to
You
get
have
this
to.
far, you can't say you're not going to grow.
Right.
You have to grow. I don't care if you say, "Well, this is just how I am, or this is how I always am." You know what? Maybe so. But there's still growth, even in remaining the way you are. There still could be some ways you could tweak and growth. And so I think that's so good, because at wedding day, you're so happy, you have so much joy and everything that day. You think at that time that nothing can go wrong. Just like having children, you think that you have those children, oh, you're this cutest little baby you see, and it's just how can ever this cute little thing be bad or be whatever? But
Yeah.
stretching,
Find out real
you
quick.
find out real quick
Mhm.
They don't care about your life. They care about themselves. That baby is, so I'm just saying, in the beginning, you gotta, absorb that goodness and that happiness, all that joy in the marriage, in the wedding day. But just know all those vows mean something. And overall, you gotta stay true to the promise. What you made, those vows you made, stay true to the promise, and that's what's going to give you that longevity. You gotta want to be there. It's gonna give you that one longevity. It's gonna make you be on because babe, we want to be on the top shelf. We want to be
In the big store.
at the big stores. That's how you have to say. I want to remain at the big stores. I don't want to be like just complacent. You can just sell me at the Dollar General. We're good. No, we want to be always growing and ever changing to evolve and reinventing ourselves to be next generation on the big store. Because that's where you're relevant. That's where the money is, at the big store. So thank you so much for spending this anniversary with us. And thank you so much for being on my show. I appreciate it.
Always.
Thank you. And until next time, be the best version of yourself that you can be. And what?
No, don't put me
Be the best version of yourself that you can be. And until next time, we'll see you then. Bye.